Welcome into another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. We are connecting with you, Italian football fans from all over the world. Jerry Mancini and I were dressed all wrong today. I do have an Inter jersey, old school Umbro, hanging behind me, and I've got the blue and black colors. But I'm dressed all wrong. I'm still dressed in what I was wearing when I did a college football stream, American football, earlier today. Well, I guess Jerry's not dressed wrong. You got a Lazio shirt on. For some reason, when your arm was covering the logo, I thought you were wearing a Chelsea shirt for a second. So Jerry came dressed correctly in celebration of the Serie A season coming up. I'm dressed all wrong. Hello to, I see Cartel is in the house. Biggie is in the house, and Biggie, I guess, has already put in his Scudetto prediction. He says Inter are going to win the league. Inter are the betting favorites, and I'm an Inter supporter, but I'm not going to put money on Inter to win the league. I'm too nervous about Milan repeating. I think people are underrating them a little bit just based on a quieter transfer market than a lot of the other clubs. And I'm certainly not ruling out Juventus with the improvements that they're making to their squad. And wow, Jerry, somebody called us handsome lads. How are you, Jerry? Hello, Vincenzo, by the way.
I'm good. This is the Lazio training kit I bought last year. I bought this and a shitload of other crap that I'm finally wearing. It fits now, actually. So
yeah, because you're losing weight, right?
Yeah, I went for an hour and a half walk today. So yeah, and I just want this transfer window to end. And I told Alex offline, I will not give a prediction this year until the actual window is closed. I'm not making no stupid prediction of 3 weeks before the transfer window closes. And I think Juventus is going to win. And then 3 weeks later, they make 5 moves. And all of a sudden, I got to freaking configure a table. Call me in 3 weeks, and then I will give a prediction on what I think is going to happen. I will give a prediction on something else. I think that Juventus is stepping in ready to fuck over Napoli. They are ready to fuck
with
them
Simeone,
over
right? With little
That's
Cholo.
All I'll say. Like, I did not see the first Raspadori. Now they're going after Giovanni Simeone. I don't understand what's going on there. It's something that doesn't make sense, but it's Simeone is a good player, but I guess the thing is that if Juventus is coming in, I know that
how much are they going to bid for him? Because I know these reports started coming out shortly before we went live that Juve are trying to steal Simeone from Napoli. Like, do we know how much are they going to pay for him?
Well, Vincenzo's right. Simeone is supposedly supposed to be Patagna's replacement. Raspa is supposed to be Mertens' replacement. But the problem is that if 15 for Simeone,
15 mil. Okay.
Okay. So
that sounds about right.
So the article that I'm reading from Susie Campanella, it doesn't say that. It says that it's a loan with an option to buy. So I don't know. It says on it. So right now it says multiple sources today reported that Simeone. Yeah, so he's right. It is 15 million, but it will be 3 million up front, and then the option to buy for 12 million, which a total is an obligation. Over here it says option, so I don't know.
Well, so it just means they put a 15 million valuation on the player then, even if it's an option or an obligation. So that seems like a fair price. I mean, he's not the greatest player in the world, but for that price and as a backup, that's solid.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Like, I guess Simeone hasn't signed anything yet with Napoli, so I guess Juventus can come in. This whole transfer market's been a dud to me, so it doesn't matter what people report. I'll believe it once the guy is actually in at the facility and then doing his medicals. That's how I've come to terms. Like, look at Vecino, okay? We all thought he wasn't coming to Lazio. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, it came and happened. That's how this transfer market's been. And I'll go off topic here. And I don't think there are bad signings. Yeah, maybe there's scraps and leftovers at their previous clubs, Romagnoli and Vecino. But Vecino no longer was needed Inter and just became. How does a player become good if they don't have any consistent playing time? You need to play, and I heard this on the podcast with Joe Fischetti, and it was a good episode, this previous episode, and one of the points he talked about, and I think it was Lozano. He was saying that how can Lozano be a good player how can he be a consistent player if he doesn't play consistently?
Right.
Like if he's injured, he was out of the lineup, he's up and down. Like it's hard to build consistency, and I think that with Vecino, he will get that under because he's wanted, and he'll have a different role and maybe utilize differently that may benefit him. And then with
I
Roman,
cannot believe that Matías Vecino is only 30. I just looked him up to double check his age. I thought that man must be 34 by
good
now.
signing.
So
3
he's only 30. So it's just like it's not only like inconsistent playing time. Part of that is just because he's been injured a lot, which you could maybe say is bad luck at, when he was 28, 29, he started getting injured all the time. So maybe there's still a shot with him being 30. Like in the case of Romagnoli, even more so because I just think mentally he's been in a bad place for the last couple of years. He's needed a change of scenery, and he's only 27 years old. And we know what the potential used to be for Romagnoli, and also the fact that he loves Lazio, grew up supporting Lazio. It probably means it's going to put him in a really good place mentally. So there might be a chance. Like, do I think Romagnoli can be one of the top 5 center backs in Serie A? No, but I think he can do better at Lazio than he did the last couple of years at Milan if he can find his confidence again.
Oh, for sure. I like the Romagnoli deal. He had a lot of injuries with Milan, and I think overall his time with Milan was good. I don't think it was bad. He was a good leader inside the dressing room. Before he got hurt, he was quality on the pitch. He wants to be in Lazio. I think that's the biggest thing is that you're getting a player who has quality in his game and wants to be at the team. I think those are hard to find. I think Lazio's had a top 3 transfer market amongst all teams in Serie A. And it was needed first and foremost because they lost Luis Felipe in the back. They lost Lucas Leiva in the midfield. Samuel Strakosha left on a free transfer as well. I think that one's actually pretty funny because he was a backup on Sunday for Brentford. So I don't know what he was thinking. If he's a backup on Brentford going forward, that's a bad decision for him. You got... I think there's a few other. We sold Marici. We sold Vavro. There's been a lot of change. Escalante just got loaned out. There's been a lot of work that we've cleaned up the club, and we brought in guys like Marcos Antonio, Gila, Casale, and I think the biggest thing is that they addressed the back end and they brought it with experience and with some young quality defenders coming up in some depth. So I think that is something they needed. And in addition, they've got some midfielders. They've retained, as of right now, their core of Luis Alberto and Savage in doing this. You still got Immobile up front. You brought Cancellieri in, who is supposed to be a very highly regarded forward coming up. So I don't know if they're going to get top 4. I will say this: they are a much more competitive team coming into the season. I think they'll be they won't be as easy to beat, but
and also to add a compliment to Lazio, and I don't think they're going to be top 4 either, but I think they're going to be better because I think with a manager like Sarri, I think you need more than one season to adapt to his tactics. Right? It's not only about reinforcing through the transfer window, which is great, and reinforcing the back line, which was needed. But just his style of play is so different from what they ran under Inzaghi previously that I just think it takes more than one season to adapt to a manager like that, right? There are certain situations where sometimes a club will go from one manager to another who runs a similar formation, right? Like when Inter went from Conte to Inzaghi, not exactly the same, but 3-5-2 to a 3-5-2. The tactics are a little bit different, but you already really have the players more or less to run that formation. That wasn't the case with Lazio last year, so I think it takes time.
No, absolutely. We'll see what happens. I think we're linked to Emerson Palmieri. They need a left back still. We don't know. I don't think Luis Alberto is going to get sold now. And if you had to ask me, does Alberto get sold or does Savage get sold? I always was a firm believer that Alberto was the guy who was going to go because he wants. And I have nothing against it. I know a lot of Lazio fans are saying you play for the crest. You should be happy what you've been given and all that shit. And I'm like, it's a two-way street, man. There's two ways to looking at it. Yes, the club has given a player an opportunity, and Alberto took it when he was at his lowest, but he also repaid them with 6 solid seasons. Like, you take him out of that midfield, I say it every day. Without Alberto, Immobile would be half the person he is today. Wouldn't be as effective. Savage probably wouldn't be as effective in the midfield because he's a complementary player that makes Savage's job easier, and they feed off each other. So does he stay this season? At the moment, Sevilla doesn't want to pay 25 million, and we all know how Lotito does business. And today's report about Savage 50 million, I laugh at that because it's been stated so many times that he wants at least 75 million for him. Like, you know what? People say that Lazio's stupid if they lose him on a free in 2 years. I don't think they are. You lose him okay, so don't get me wrong, 70 million or 60 million or 50 million is a lot of money. But 50 million doesn't automatically guarantee you something that will just come in and be as equally good. Right. Like you have by selling Savage, you now have to go look for a player like that. And it's not easy. When we bought him, it's not. We bought him for 18 million. Okay, wow. And I think he was a top 3 purchase in Lazio's history under Lotito. You get a guy like Savage. Where do you get it? Like you have to have a contingency plan in order to sell Alberto or Savage, and they don't have one for Savage. They do have one for Alberto and Illich from Verona. That's already in place. If Alberto gets sold tomorrow, they have somebody who's coming. And I think Isco was another one they were talking about from Madrid. I don't know, from Tottenham. Not Isco. I forgot.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Isco is from Madrid.
Yeah. There's another midfielder from Tottenham that's been linked. Lo Celso. And okay. I don't know why we would even need him, but still. So I think Lazio's transfer market will probably have maybe 1 or 2 more players left, and then I don't think he signs for Inter. I'm gonna tell you right now, he's going to. Hey, I'm convinced he goes to Real Madrid if he's to leave on a free transfer.
That's his dream, right?
That's his dream team.
That's his boyhood dream.
If you are 27, you're gonna be almost 30 when you leave Lazio. When's the next opportunity you're gonna have to play for Real Madrid in the best years of your life?
Right, because they don't make a habit out of signing old players, right? Like if he leaves Lazio at 29, that's your last chance, because Madrid's not just going to bring you in when he's 33, 34. So yeah. So since I can't trap you into giving me a top 4 prediction before the Mercato closes. Will you be willing to do this exercise with me? Because I have the betting odds in front of me. These are the odds to win Serie A. You don't have to predict a winner of the league, but can we agree on which team would have the best value to bet on? Right? Atalanta? Because maybe at, oh my God, at plus 2,200. So if you look at this, for those, if anyone doesn't understand how the odds work, you see Inter are favorites. I'm an East. I don't necessarily agree with them being favorites. So if you bet $100 or 100 euros, whatever it is, and if they win the championship, you get 162 back, right? If you bet on Juve and they win, you get 210 back on $100, 100 euro bet. Milan plus 400. I think, Jerry, you start to get into the value when you get to Milan and even Roma, more so Milan. I think Milan is the best value on the board because they just won the league. They are extremely adapted to one another, and they've really adapted to Pioli. They've had so much consistency, and, maybe some people can call it a fluke, the way that they were able to grind out such consistent results last year, and they can't recreate it this season. I don't know. I think, honestly, Milan at plus 400 to get 4 times your money back on them winning Serie A. It's a lot better value, of course, than you get on Inter, a lot more value you get on Juventus. I'm going to ask you, Jerry, even though you're a Laziale, would you consider Roma at plus 650 to be a decent value? Because we've seen Mourinho work miracles before, and this is the league best suited to his tactics, and Roma have really improved their squad. Obviously, for them, the X factor is, can they stay healthy? They're not going to have Champions League football. What are they in Europa League this year? So maybe that's a little bit less of a distraction, or a little bit less of something that takes your squad away. So do you think Roma at plus 650? I'll tell you, Napoli, honestly, I'm just looking at this now. Napoli at plus 2,000 actually might be the best value on the board, probably even better than Milan.
Where'd you get these odds from?
These are from covers.com.
Yeah, tell Covers to go fucking shove a pickle up their ass.
No, I think these are industry standards.
How has Atalanta got better odds than Lazio?
Where is Lazio? I can't find them.
They're right after Atalanta.
Oh, okay. Plus 5. Okay, so bet on Lazio.
But how can a team like Atalanta have done nothing in the transfer market? They've lost players. They're worse than They're worse than last year, and Lazio finished ahead of them in the standings, and they've improved their squad. And this is fucking makes me nervous. I'm sorry. I'm not saying I would put money on Lazio to win this Scudetto, but they should be ahead of Atalanta. That's all I can say. You read my mind. I like Milan. Yeah. I would put my money on Milan for 2 reasons. I think they did some really good moves in the transfer market. They got a number 9, Rigi. They got Di Cattalere. I think he's going to be a really good player for Milan. You got Kalulu, who's going to be another year now. He's going to be more mature. He's going to have a better idea. His experience is going to be there. You got Tomori in the back end there. You got Simon Kjær, who's going to be coming back from an injury. I think that's very important. The only thing that concerns me to start the year is the loss of Sandro Tonali and how they overcome his injury. I know it's not long term, but you don't want to start the season on the wrong note. We'll see. I still like how Pioli has kind of overcome the odds in recent seasons with injuries. Kessié is not there either, so that could be a loss. As for Roma, I think Roma at 650 is a decent play.
I think honestly Napoli I think Milan at plus 400 is the best overall bet, but I think Napoli at plus 2,000 is the best value because they are not that bad that you should be getting long odds like that on Napoli. I think Napoli have a better chance than plus 2,000.
Yeah, but I think they have a lot of turnover to do in their team. You got Insigne who's gone. You got a defender who's gone. There's a possibility that the midfield will look a little bit different too. I wonder how they gel out. But yeah, I think at the same time, I think that they've had enough time in preseason to kind of get over that hump. So it would be interesting to see how they start off as well. But I think Napoli has the best value. You're right. When you look at it on paper, I'm not going to go over the map and give 5 different answers. I'll say Milan is my pick though, at plus 400.
I think that's mine as well. And I know if our pal Michael Lisi is watching this, he probably thinks I'm only saying that to jinx Milan. I will neither confirm nor deny that.
I would put nothing on Juventus, not a fucking dime. I wouldn't either. I don't know what they're doing right now. Their transfer market's up and down. They signed Kostic today, right?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think that was a good signing.
Yeah, that is a good signing. He's been wanted by a number of Serie A clubs. So it's finally, Jerry, are you excited for Calcio? Because you told me you're now a Ligue 1 fan. Have you given up on Serie A?
I've watched 4 Ligue 1 games this week, and I love the quality of football. I think it's great. I like what they call it, the League of Talents, and I think it's true. I've watched at least 10 standout players this past weekend where Italian clubs should be watching, scouting, and say, hey, we can buy these players for a quarter of the price of what EPL teams charge their players for. Like,
yeah, it's true.
I'm telling you, like, Inter needs a goalkeeper still. I think. I'm not sure about Onana.
We'll see. We'll see how Onana. I'm going to give Onana at least like a game before, like a real game before I judge.
Well, even if Onana turns out to be good, you still need another goalkeeper. What
That's
the
true.
heck is this?
We're getting spammed, I think. What is this?
Spammed. What is this? Whatever. I was watching the Nantes game today, and I don't know the goalkeeper's name. I apologize off the top of my head, but he's a 20-year-old goalkeeper, and this guy was like amazing. I've seen like six. It's supposed to be like the next up and coming goalkeeper. They were saying, and there are a lot of good players. Like I'll write the names down next time when we come to this pod. Come better prepared, but like there's a lot of good talent in Ligue 1, and I like it because I know it sucks because PSG is always the clear winner. But if
they didn't even win the league 2 years ago. Lille won it, so at least there was there was 1 year when they didn't win the title.
But like when you watch, like I watched Monaco this past weekend, and they got some really good players. They got a guy named Diop. He's like a 20-year-old player, amazing. This guy has good feet, technical, smart. I like it. I watched Ligue 1 and I watched Serie A. And I watched Chelsea because I'm a Chelsea fan. But like, other than that, like that's where I kind of like. I don't really spend a lot of time on EPL. It just doesn't. It doesn't get me going. Everyone says it's the most entertaining league, and when you're watching Man City versus West Ham and you see two goals out of a whole game, and like one's a penalty shot, and like there's not really. The game doesn't do anything for me.
It's the league with the most money and the best PR firm. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the most enjoyable football, right? I mean, they've got like the newly promoted Premier League sides are spending more money than all the Serie A sides. So they have the money, which means you have the money, you can buy great players and all that. But yeah, you're right. The matches are not necessarily as entertaining or more entertaining than Serie A, Ligue 1. I enjoy the Bundesliga from time to time as well. And also, like, I don't know how it is in Canada, but like stateside, I subscribe to enough of these streaming services because, 5-6 years ago, you basically just needed regular TV because like Premier League on NBC. And, you needed like beIN Sports to watch Serie A, La Liga, Ligue 1, but now like all the leagues are spread out on all these streaming services you have to pay a monthly fee for, including some of the Premier League matches you can watch on regular TV, but a lot of them you have to watch them on the Peacock streaming service, which is like the only one that I don't pay for. So it's enough is enough, man. Yeah, I mean, if I really want to, I can access the illegal streams, but it's a pain in the ass because these ads always pop up, and like I feel like I'm getting viruses on my computer. So it's like, yeah, I don't watch as much Premier League as I used to since they moved mostly to streaming.
I like how this League 1 is not trash because of a team PSG. It defeats everything. Remember, half of the Italian league, they buy their players from League 1.
And let's not forget, dude, for 9 straight years, we had the same Serie A champion. Like, does that mean like did you guys still watch Serie A for those? I did, even though the team I hated most was winning those titles every single year. I still watched it. Like, I know I do know some Bayern fans who obviously enjoy watching Bundesliga every year, but I know some Dortmund fans who still watch every year, even though the champion is guaranteed Bayern every single season. So, it can still be fun to watch.
You never think about like this. If you're an Italian scout, okay, you're a scout for your team, you're Inter. You're going to say that Ligue 1 shit, that's trash, PSG is a guaranteed winner, and you're not going to go look at players. You're not going to want to see how the teams play. Like there's games that people are excited to see because of certain players.
And you want to talk about a trash league? MLS is trash. I mean, how many European sides take players from MLS? Could you hear that over the screen?
Yeah.
It was like an ad. It was because I have this scoreboard page open, and there was a commercial playing over it. But what do you think, Jerry? About let's look at the Saturday match days first.
You say MLS is trash, right?
Yeah, it's
Did
horrible
you hear
garbage.
like next season? Amazon is the only exclusive rights. Like they're the only ones who's showing MLS games.
I might cancel my Amazon just so I don't watch it by accident.
I found this out at the TFC game I went to 2 weeks ago, and the guy told me that apparently Amazon bought the rights to MLS for next season, and then like TSN here is not going to show it. TSN is basically Sports Desk, which is like in the States, and then like DAZN shows MLS games, so I don't know if they're going to lose the rights, but like, yeah, I think it's a big mistake if that's Amazon doing just like there's not enough viewership and like power.
Well, honestly, I think
it's bad.
They may be a little bit early, but like Amazon's getting, I think, NFL, they're getting like exclusive rights to like Thursday night maybe. So I honestly, I think within 5 years,
Amazon.
Just like streaming services will just be like TV. Like I think a lot of like the regular TV is just going to cease to exist. So they're probably ahead of the curve on that, if anything. But we look at Serie A is back, Jerry, on Saturday. You know, they usually don't give you the marquee matchups the first match day, which is fine. But there's some interesting games. The defending champs get to open things up at San Siro. Milan takes on Udinese. Sampdoria hosting Lazio. Inter
Atalanta
on the road at Lecce. Oh, sorry. Atalanta. Yeah, my bad. Sampdoria hosting Atalanta. Excuse me. I was getting ahead of myself there because Lazio play Sunday, I think.
Yeah.
Lecce hosting Inter. Newly promoted Monza. That's going to be a very interesting squad to watch this year. Are hosting Torino. On Sunday, Fiorentina hosting newly promoted Cremonese. Let me see what their site is all about. I like I don't know if I've ever even paid attention to their logo. When I first saw that, I'm like, who is that? Oh, Cremonese. Let's see. There you go. Lazio, 12:30 Eastern time on Sunday, hosting Bologna. Salernitana hosting Roma. Spezia hosting Empoli. So outside of watching our teams, not to say that they're necessarily the best matchups because Lecce Inter probably won't be a barn burner. I hope to see Lukaku score against Lecce like he did a few years ago when he first put on the Inter shirt. What other games are you looking forward to, Jerry, this weekend? Because obviously I'm going to watch as many games as I can because it's opening weekend.
I like the Milan versus Udinese game on Saturday.
That's one of the better games, yeah.
The two always bring the best out of each other. It's always a tight affair. I know that Milan never really beats up Udinese. They kind of cause them problems. I'm actually looking forward to Monza versus Torino. The one.
Me too. I'm really because that's a newly promoted side that looks like they're probably going to stick, like they're going to stay up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching them.
I want to see how they do because they've been one of the most active teams in the transfer market and have made some really good moves for a promoted side in quite a long time, coming up from Serie B to Serie A. So that will be interesting. There's some good games on Monday as well. Napoli plays Hellas Verona, and those two always have a very tight contest, but I don't know what to expect of Verona.
I think that's Monday. Yeah. We got two games on. I didn't even get to Monday. Verona, Napoli, and Juve Sassuolo is an interesting game too. Although Sassuolo, they've had a lot of turnover on their roster.
Yeah, but Juve really is an interesting team because right now they didn't have a good preseason. They have a lot of injuries to start the season. They just acquired players and they just got Kostic and it seems like he might be available to play on Monday, but the team really hasn't, like, they're going to buy players now. They haven't had the time to really settle in and get into the groove and understand the system. So it might take a while for Juve to get going, but that game does interest me because Sassuolo and Juve always play very entertaining games. There's no marquee clash game this weekend.
No.
Inter looks okay with Lecce. Lecce is promoted. Let's see how they can handle with the big boys if they can stay up again this year. If they can stay up this year, but like I'll be biased and I'll say I'm pretty excited to watch Lazio versus Bologna. That's the game I'm going to be looking at. I know you yourself, you're going to be looking at Inter versus Lecce.
Yeah.
I like that game right there. Like Roma versus Salernitana doesn't wow me, to be honest.
No.
So I haven't really taken the time to really put in which games, but yeah, I guess the first week is always the hardest, right? Because
Yeah, you don't know what you're gonna get.
yeah, exactly. So
And then on late Monday night after the last game of match day 1, we can all start to overreact to because I always see people do this on Calcio Twitter, which never changed. Calcio Twitter, we love you, but after match day 1, people are like, "Oh, such and such team definitely going to win the Scudetto. Such and such team, no shot. This team has no shot." Like, okay, you got to give it a little time to develop, don't you?
no, exactly. Like I think people overreact too quickly. That's the problem. You got Fiorentina plays Cremonese on Sunday. You said,
Yeah,
you know what? Maybe Spezia Empoli. That's like the most balanced game of the
entertaining
weekend.
game. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
you
That
know
is
what?
true. It's
I'll
not a
go with
squash
that.
match.
I'll go with the marquee match of the weekend is Spezia Empoli at 2:45. Only because neither team is amazing or really bad. They're just they're at the same level. So I think that could be a very entertaining game for the weekend. Um, like I said, I do like the Verona versus Napoli game. That really catches my eye.
I like it. Well, Jerry, it is always a pleasure, sir. Yeah, guys, we're going to be, of course, around for the entire season. We're going to try to put out as much content as we possibly can. Jerry, I see you've been writing again a lot recently. What can people find? You put out some stories this week. Where can they find your work?
I just basically released an article on Alessio Romagnoli and why it makes sense for both sides for Lazio. I'll be doing TSC reporting on Saturday and next
Awesome.
Wednesday. So I'll be at the game and I'm going to try to get an interview with Federico Benedeschi for the podcast. I don't know if I'll be able to score that, but I'm going to ask on Saturday and what I need to do in order to make that happen, because I think that would be something interesting.
Be fantastic.
And, yeah. So I always forget to even play for TFC.
It still feels weird that then, and you live in that city, so it's probably weirder for you. But it just feels weird that they're in MLS.
It doesn't wow me that much. It's the buzz was great at the beginning. Now it's just MLS is still shit. Who cares?
I remember a couple of years ago when, and I live in Miami, and a couple of years ago when Inter Miami got Gonzalo, they also got Federico, but when they got Gonzalo Higuain, people are trying to cite this guy's gonna be great in MLS. He was the highest paid MLS player at that time.
What did you think about Chiellini's handball on Sunday or on Saturday when he handballed it? You didn't see it?
No.
The ball was gonna go by him, so instead of
straight
yellow, he handballed it and he stopped the play from happening. And I was listening on Gab Marcotti's podcast, and he hated it. He's like, it's a bad look. It doesn't look good on him. It's not something you want to give the MLS and the league. And he's pretty right. It is a competitive league still. You don't want to shit on it even more. So you got a guy like Chiellini, you don't want to show yourself like that, right? So
yeah,
but I guess it is what
Hold
it is.
on one second. Now that we're talking about it, I want to pull up the clip here if I can. Let me see. So was it like a situation like it was going to go in the goal?
No, it was more like he was at midfield and he had to stop it from a play kind of happening. He kind of stopped an opportunity, a scoring chance.
Hold on.
I thought it should have been straight red, but if someone's blatantly gonna handball.
Yeah, that's why the way you described it, that's why I was asking if it was a straight red. Hold on, because I haven't seen this, so I want to watch this for the first time. So I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna share the screen here. Hold on, let me make this a lot bigger here. That's what she said.
Oh, is that the troll one?
Yeah.
Not all pace, it's IQ, it's positioning, composure. Oh, look at this from Chiellini.
Let's see the replay.
Just as you were saying, it's his intelligence.
Oh, my friend Chris is calling the game.
Volleyball there. I think you can make a case that that's a red card.
Yeah, see?
For Chiellini, they're going out the window.
Oh my God!
Well, it's two-handed.
That's ridiculous.
That's a red card. I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how you.
All pace,
That's
it's IQ, it's
volleyball.
positioning, composure.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
look at this
volleyball.
from Chiellini.
The volleyball move. Yeah, exactly.
Just as you were saying.
Well, he clearly learned something from Matthias de Ligt after playing with him for a couple of years.
Pretty much. Yeah, you can say that.
Wow.
I think it. Do you think in Serie A that's a straight red?
It should be a straight red anywhere. It's like it's the most blatant hand. I mean, the only argument you can make is it's not like, because if it's a situation where you're an outfield player and the ball's going into the net and you stop it with your hand, that's a straight red every time. So I don't know like black and white if that's the rule, but that looks to me so blatant, straight red, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of a bad look for him.
Yeah.
When you really look at it, but it's yeah, I guess that's MLS standards.
There it is. Well, it's always a good time, my friends. Thank you so much, Anthony, Cartel. I'm not going to shout out the spammer. How dare you come in here and spam us? Someone sending us porn links, or I'm going to see if those work after the show, but I'm not going to bring. Vincenzo, thank you so much for hopping in. Eduardo, thank you so much for hopping in. And yeah, he thinks like you, Jerry. Exactly. He says, I won't put my money on Inter till Mercato is closed. Yeah, you got to make 100% sure that Skriniar is not sold, especially among others. And Diggy, thank you so much. So yeah, guys, we're going to be coming at you all throughout the season on this channel. Make sure you subscribe to our audio podcast as well. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's free, right? Just hit the subscribe button, support us. Yeah.
Just the last point before the season starts.
Sure.
Fans should not really buy into like this whole preseason where the Italian teams haven't won and that they haven't looked good, and Juventus was winless and Inter lost I know that they lost 4-2 on the weekend, and
yeah.
I don't buy too much into that. A lot of these teams want to play caliber teams. Like it's like Juventus chose to play 3 quality La Liga teams. Inter played some really good teams. I think that, I don't know, can't say the same for Lazio, but they weren't scrubs. But Milan decided to play some really below league teams. Be honest, not all of them, but a few. Like the past weekend was a 3rd-tier team, so you have to take for what it is.
It happens. I think Inter had like a training match against the Serie A side, so it's like, yeah, they all do it.
I wouldn't buy too much into preseason. That's all. That's my only recommendation. Like my takeaway would be how players are adapting, how the team as a whole is working together. Which players are standing out, which ones are showing that they need to go on loan.
And the other thing that people forget is Serie A starts later than pretty much every other league. So they're always like a week or more behind. Oh, I don't know if I lost Jerry or if Jerry lost me.
Oh, here. It could have been my internet.
I could have been mine. You know how it goes. By the way, Jerry, I figured out. Do you know what all my internet problems were due to?
AOL?
No, my freaking computer. So I'm going to. It's very expensive. I know you had to do this not too long ago, but I am going to be replacing my my laptop within the next couple of days. I'm going to do a partial trade in and get a new machine going, because I've done enough experiments over the last couple of weeks where I realized my computer only works properly on the internet if I'm hard connected. It does not work well on Wi-Fi. And I've tried like 10 different Wi-Fi networks, really fast, like high speeds, and it shits the bed everywhere. It can only work when it's hard connected. And based on what I do, sports reporting and such, I can't be hard connected everywhere. It just doesn't work for me. So, 6 years I've had this computer, so it's time to renew and upgrade. So that's going to be happening in the next couple of days.
Nice stuff.
So hopefully, if the next time we do an episode, I'm going to be on the new laptop. If it still sucks, we're going to know that it's my curse or my house is haunted, and it's not the computer's fault after all.
Sounds good. But we'll end it there.
All right, we'll talk to you guys again next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.